Had another team go in and win on the road. Rutgers takes it to Maryland. I got to be honest, there was very little offense in this game. 56 to 53. I think I looked up at one time and like the first half was almost over and nobody had even scored 20 yet. And I was like, yeesh, here we go. But two strong defensive teams. Rutgers was able to start pulling ahead a little bit, and Maryland was able to bring it back, make it close. But Rutgers was obviously able to take this one. Joe, I'm curious, what were your thoughts on Rutgers beating Maryland?
Yeah, I mean, this was being billed as just going to be a rock fight, and it was. Rutgers per KenPom, I think right now 300th in offense, second in defense. Maryland's like 190th in offense and sixth in defense. Neither of these teams have capabilities of scoring the ball at times, and they are both very elite at now allowing the other team to score. Like it wouldn't have shocked me if this game stayed under 100 points total. Some free throw stuff at the end, like kind of push it over the edge, but. I think in a lot of ways it's telling for Rutgers. This is their second game with Jeremiah Williams. They are now 2-0 with him, and he has provided a huge spark for them. 14 points, 5 rebounds, and just in an offense like Rutgers, where like I mentioned with Minnesota, how last year I just didn't know what their identity was. Like I have no clue what Rutgers at times even wants to do on offense. They just don't have that guy like, a Geo Baker from before, or even last year. Like you had Caleb McConnell that could get a pull up. You had Paul Mulcahy who could essentially do what is now coined as booty ball.
You had Cam Spencer who could knock down threes.
Yeah, Cam Spencer. I forgot about him. Exactly. Yeah. Now it's like Jeremiah Williams is that guy, at least in these two games, that has been able to create for himself. He has that energy to him. He's kind of honestly offensively is what I think people were wanting from Derek Simpson this year. Is kind of what it's felt like in this short sample size. Really skilled with the ball, and he had no assists in this game, but I know his prior years was very good at facilitating the ball too. It sucks that the NCAA just dragged their feet with because he was not playing. I think it was like I don't know if it was gambling or something like that. But they just took forever and basically ruling him eligible. He's been ruled eligible for 2 games. They look a lot better. Obviously it's too late now, but looking at next year when they do bring in Harper and Ace Bailey, Jeremiah Williams should be a good fit alongside them. Flipping to Maryland, this is just like the most Maryland game ever of like Julian Reese had a good game. Jameer Young did not have a good game, but he still was able to get something. And then they got absolutely nothing from everybody else. And that's just been the story of their season. I was super high on them coming into the year. So I'm pretty sad to see them play the way they are, but 2 of 18 from 3, and both of them come from Jameer Young. Like you're just not going to win many games, even if it's against Rutgers. You're just not going to win many games that way.
No, yeah, for sure. Jameer Young, it's so wild because yes, he shot 3 for 17, so obviously it wasn't a good game. But if you just look at like the points and rebounds, yeah, a double, 16 points, 12 rebounds. But you're not going to be able to win when Jameer Young is not efficient enough. I don't know how you go 3 for 17 other than like you are just your entire team's offense and you just have to keep shooting because you know that even though you're 3 for 17, you're still the best option to score out there because nobody else really is. And that's hard for them. Quick stat before we move on here, because I found this earlier today. You guys want to know who the only 2 teams in the Big Ten are to win 2 back-to-back away games this year? One of them's Purdue, obviously, and Rutgers. Rutgers just won back-to-back away games at Michigan, at Maryland. They are projected to lose like all of their games except for 2 the rest of the season. But still, like, hey, we got something that only Rutgers and Purdue has done in the conference. So, that's pretty impressive. Brant, what were your thoughts on the Rutgers win over Maryland?
Yeah, I mean, my number one takeaway was exactly what Joe said about Jeremiah Williams. For Rutgers, it feels like, it's all about 2024, 2025 for them. This season's kind of a wash. They're not going to make a tournament. They're not probably going to win too many games the rest of the year, like you just mentioned, JR. But for them to go on the road and, kind of shut down Maryland completely and just play to their brand. Steve Feichel loves the defense. There's not too many players who can put the ball in the hoop on this team this year. But to go and do that on the road and a tough place to play and get the win, definitely impressive, especially with the kind of season they've had so far. And then, just the emergence of Jeremiah Williams. The one thing I was really interested to see about Rutgers going into next season, they've got the 2 superstar freshmen coming in, but who's going to be alongside them? Because you can't just stick a bunch of freshmen out there and expect it to gel and just be one of the top teams in the conference. But this guy's going to be, he'll be a senior. I'm not sure how many years of eligibility he has left. I know there's some kind of weird things with transfers and injuries with him. So he's definitely going to be one of the older players on their roster next year. And to just even get him out there this year and kind of gel with some of the guys who they have right now, definitely a good leg up for them going into next season. And he seems like he'll be the perfect fit with those 2 freshmen coming in next year.
Yeah, I was just looking at that up when you were talking, Brent. The guards, Davis, Simpson, and Williams will all be back. But I don't know if there's any kind of COVID stuff going on here, but Hyatt, Amorie, and Mag are all seniors. So unless one of them has some secret COVID eligibility that I don't know about, which is so
Amorie and Mag have it if they want.
Yeah.
But I know Amorie tweeted at the beginning of the year, like one last stride, and Mag, I think, almost didn't come back this year. He could come back, but for those.
I know Amorie almost went to the NBA after last season. I know he was testing the waters there. He's probably out. And then it just feels like a changing of the guard because these guys, Hyatt, Amorie, Mag, they've been in the program for years. And I doubt they kind of hang around as it's, a new era of Rutgers basketball going into next season. Just kind of my feel for the situation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Plus, obviously, I assume some people will transfer out for Rutgers. Like usually everybody's just going to have at least 1 or 2 probably. Yeah. But if nobody transfers out, they only have 1 scholarship open because they do have 5 incoming freshmen. So,
yeah. It'll be a very freshman team. Jeremiah Williams will be a senior, so he'll be kind of the leader with the experience, I guess, on that team. So it'll be very interesting. Evan, before we move on, what were your thoughts on the game?
My thoughts more just in Maryland about Maryland overall. Kind of like what Joe was saying. I was pretty high on Maryland coming into the year. I thought, with what they brought back, with what they were bringing in, I thought they could be, definitely compete for a top 4 spot in the conference. And they just have been probably one of the bigger disappointments in the conference, in my opinion. I thought they were starting to turn around at the end of January. They got 2 wins back to back, but then they've dropped 2 in a row now. And I think this one, dropping a home game to a bad Rutgers team that almost, maybe puts the nail in the coffin to any sort of tournament hopes they had, unless they can go on a tear at the end of the year. But it's been just a total disappointment for them this year.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it before, but Harris Smith has been nowhere near the offensive production that you've wanted. Jordan Geronimo, okay defender, but he's bringing literally nothing to the offense.
He's not doing what he did at Indiana, which is not a whole lot.
Right. And sometimes that's different, like sometimes it's like a change of scenery can make something happen. Mm-hmm. Nope, not for Jordan Geronimo. He still no offense. So he had a block in the game, so that's good.
Yeah.
But thanks for listening to the Big Ten Huddle. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate that. If this was your first time listening, we are the Big Ten Huddle. We cover all things Big Ten football and basketball. We have a long episode every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, all at 9 o'clock. So come in, check us out, get in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. We would love to have you join us and learn more about the Big Ten.